So, Comboards, good to see you back again. This is great. We'll now hear from, first up is Coastal Burwood Linwood, and Paul and Jackie, please.
Chairs, like you sit on them, your feet don't touch the floor, you go for a bit of a skate, you know. So just a little bit of light heart to start off with.
Mōrena I te kura mātua me ngā kaikanihira, tēnā koutou mō te whakarongo mai kia mātou e tēnei rā me ngā mihi hoki mō tō koutou mahi mō te paenga o tō tātou taonga. Kia ora. Jackie.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be a bit more serious now. We've been very sporty in the east over the last couple of months. First up, the House of Hoops series. So Youth and Cultural Development hosted the House of Hoops in Linwood and New Brighton. And there were over 200 rangatahi at each event. So that was very well supported. The New Brighton Netball Club had a Have a Go skills clinic where they looked at footwork, attacking, defence and shooting. And they had 35 juniors doing that as well. And the Eastern Community Sports Open Day had an open day where they showcased local venues, affiliated clubs and offered hands-on experiences in a number of sports. They also had a sausage sizzle and a very community-friendly atmosphere which engaged in families. So these free sporting events are very important to people in the East as they do engage young people and families and increase interest in sport. So just bringing everyone together and pretty brilliant to have these events.
All right. On Sunday, February the 23rd, 2025, sorry, that's the wrong one. As part of Pride Fest 2025, Te Pou Toitoi hosted Pride at the Pool, a celebration for everybody on Friday, March 7th. This event provided a welcoming space for those who may not always feel at home in public, especially in the times we live in where the revanchist far right are looking to turn back the gains of freedom we made. It's really important that we have a welcoming space. Highlights of Pride Fest include a movement session designed for the rainbow community, led by Suli from Moana Wā and Yvette from Safe Gains. Attendees could also enjoy a swim, relax in the spa, connect with others in a fun and inclusive atmosphere. And roll for Pride events at Linwood and Shirley Libraries happen on March the 14th and 28th, and they offer beginner-friendly sessions of Dungeons and Dragons, creating a welcoming space for storytelling and social connection. And another exciting event was Pacific Dance Group Fitness Class by Moana Vibes, bringing energy and culture to Pride Fest with a vibrant, movement-filled session. These events, along with many others, made Pride Fest a true celebration of diversity, connection, and community across the Waitai area. Now we'll come to our advocacy section. So firstly, you'll receive a petition today from the North Beach community asking for freedom camping to be banned from North Beach foreshore car park, signed by 867 residents. The board support aspirations of the petitioners to have the issues in the car park dealt with in a timely manner and suggest that this particular location is unsuitable for freedom camping, and we need to find a location that is works both for visitors to the area and for the local residents. Finally, I just want to touch on Portlink again. It's still there, and it's still noisy, and it's still ugly. The graffiti on the fence is also ugly, but that will ultimately be dealt with as well. I just want to briefly commend the staff working on Plan Change 20, which would see these kinds of issues avoided in the future, but also to flag to the council that we are very concerned that the changes being talked about by the government could lead to the extension of existing use rights, such as this, which could mean places like Portlink could expand. I can imagine circumstances where companies who have repeatedly breached their resource consent terms are still able to expand operations, encroaching on their neighbours, all under the name of quote-unquote private property rights. What this kind of deregulation means is the more property you have, i.e. the more wealth people have, the more power they have to impose their will on their neighbours. It is not really about freedom for everyone, but freedom for a select few. And lastly, Community Board Part A report. Cuthbert's Green, Canterbury softball's new build. It's awesome. You should all support it. and be excited about it. Thank you. Any questions?
No, that's very good. Anyone want a question? No? Brilliant work. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Got it. Okie doke. So now we have Banks Peninsula. We've got Lynn, and I think I saw Nigel here as well. It's brilliant. Thank you.
I'm in charge of the slides today. Morning, everyone. It's great to be here again, and I'm joined by Nigel and the mystery person in the middle. Nigel's from Akaroa. So you may remember me talking back in October that the board heard from some passionate locals who had a vision, a welcoming hub right in the heart of Akaroa to greet our visitors and support the community with essential information, the Information Centre. They wanted a place that would help people feel at home, guide them to the best walking tracks, and frankly just make life easier for both tourists and visitors and residents. Fast forward to today, and we're thrilled to say that the vision has become a reality. The Akaroa Resource Collective Trust stepped forward and with the assistance of council staff made it happen. They were granted a lease to set up the Information Centre at the Akaroa Service Centre, running as a trial from December to the end of May this year. So that's the summer and the autumn seasons. It's run entirely by volunteers, people who choose to show up, who choose to serve, who choose to be part of something bigger than themselves, and I'm sitting right next to one of them right now. The coordinator, funded by the Trust, is doing an incredible job, but let's be honest, passion alone can't keep this going. We need sustainable funding to make this work long term. In just 6 weeks, the centre has seen over 1,500 people, and those numbers just keep climbing. So what are people asking about the most? Walking tracks, both in the township and across the peninsula, and it's clear that visitors are eager to explore our beautiful surroundings, and they're turning to the Info Centre to point them in the right direction. The Info Centre is right next to the council customer services desk and postal centre, and the collaboration between them is fantastic. The board supports the continuation of the Information Centre after the trial because it matters. It's about more than just answering questions, it's about manaakitanga, hospitality, connection, and doing right by our visitors and locals alike. But that kind of work needs continued support, and we need to find a way of funding our volunteer coordinator.
Now, shifting gears just a little, we'd like to touch on the bigger picture of tourism. The Banks Peninsula Destination Management Plan, or DMP for short, we collaborated with stakeholders and with the wonderful help of Christchurch NZ, who helped through the process to create the DMP. It is largely supported by the committee, a great achievement. Endorsed in 2023, the plan is our vision for shaping the future of tourism on Banks Peninsula, with the priority being around hosting visitors in a regenerative way. Unfortunately, nothing has been implemented yet for the lack of want, not for the lack of want, but for the lack of funding. Tourism in New Zealand is still growing. It grew 12% last year to 3.3 million, and we're still only 85% pre-COVID numbers of the international visitors. And locally, with the completion of the stadium now in town, we can expect even more visitors in the near future. We all know that Otautahi is the place to be the happiest city in the 2024, but Banks Peninsula infrastructure is not coping as it is. We have a good DMP plan. Now we need to be smart in the implementation of it. It's not smart to let this productive market burn itself out through inadequate facilities, community resentment and carelessness, potentially given Banks Peninsula given a bad name. We have a window of opportunity now to make sure we avoid that possibility with good governance and implementation. Thank you.
You right? All done questions, is it?
Oh, no, we've still got more. I'm next up with backwards and forwards. That's right, we are running out of time. Okay, lately we've been hearing from many passionate voices who want to have more provision for young people and for multicultural activities in Akaroa. Ideas have been pouring in, from creating more recreational spaces to organising community events that celebrate our diversity to upgrading existing facilities. We are looking into possible next steps. I'll briefly go over, we were going to have a part A, but that's for another meeting, but I'll just say our process around it. The board had a robust and long discussion about this batch in Port Levy, which is located on council land foreshore reserve. After hearing deputations from the owner of the batch and from representatives of some community members, and taking into account the information we had on the day, the board voted 5 for 2 against, recommending to council to grant a 25-year lease to the batch owner. This is subject to either trimming or removal of the surrounding hedge to enable better access to the beach for community members, and then return the foreshore to a natural state. And like I said, we will hear more on that at another date. So, in closing, I'd just like to say that with all of this, from the info centre to the DMP, the decisions and the hearings that we have, it's all about helping to create a thriving, welcoming and connected community. Thank you for having us today.
I must say the new wharf is outstanding. The
Yes.
one that's there. Tyrone?
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. I'm just thinking, so what quick wins, so you talked about funding, a very small amount of funding, so what quick wins or smaller initiatives do you think could be gained while or when that funding is secured?
Yes, so continuation of the information centres, definitely, 100%. There's one in Akaroa, there's one in Littleton and Wairewa. Just information on data with collaboration with Christchurch NZ, so we know where our pinch points are, where the real problems are, where the numbers are really hitting us, so that we can work on infrastructure. Stakeholder discussions with Christchurch NZ. There's so many ways that we can really sort of progress this without having a huge amount of funding. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Can I say something quickly?
Yeah.
That comes back to that funding of for those people who are running those centres. There's heaps of volunteers, the bulk of work's there, but there's the lack of budget that Christchurch NZ said they don't have that budget. So we're not necessarily looking for new money, it's just reappropriating the funds. So.
Right, thank you, Nigel, and thanks
Thank
for all
you,
the work you do in your community.
Thanks,
Okay,
Tim.
so we are well over. Yanni has a quick one. I thought it was.
Have we gone to the government for the visitor levy to be applied to the destination management or the information service centre?
Thank you. Yanni.
Yep.
No, can we?
Oh, who are you asking? Are you
I mean,
asking
anyone
us?
really. Like, I'll keep asking this
We've asked
question.
the
Yanni asks it a lot, and he'll keep asking it. So
It seems a really good candidate to
Yes,
apply to
yes.
that.
I think
new fund.
100% we should be. Yeah.
Okay.
Putting our
We'll
needs
follow
forward.
up with Christchurch NZ and so we can see
So
if
we
there's
get some
any
of that.
funding left over from the money they received to do the destination plan for this, and if there's any follow-up. So we'll liaise with
Okay.
them, and then
But
if not,
You think-
let the board know.
this is that new special one that
There's a
the government
levy.
put on
The
border,
levy that's put
border
on. Is
levy?
that the one you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, the border levy.
Yeah, we don't want to step on toes anyway,
okay.
so we'll liaise with
thank
them.
you. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Rightio, we've got Sprayed and Cashmere Healthcare. Callum and Keir are both here. Yep, good. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Thanks for having us back. We'll get right into it. So we've got a part A coming to you guys today around the renewal of the lease for the beach bar at Sumner. Essentially this has been triggered by the lessee wanting to make some changes, and there's the need to change the conditions of the lease around that. We think it's fairly straightforward, win-win-win for the council, the community and the lessee, so we're fully unanimously supporting that part A to go through today. Next up, advocacy. So we're coming to speak to you tomorrow about the annual plan, so we're not going to spoil that now. I'm sure you'll have plenty of annual plan feedback to listen to. But just to give you a bit of a taster of what we're going to be talking about, particular of interest to us at the moment is the unmarked graves at Sydenham Cemetery, the Port Hills Management Plan, and climate resilience as well as a key issue for our board. Kia, did you want to talk a bit to cycle access at the South Library, or the temporary library?
So it's awesome that we've got this, the South Colombo Library temporary facility. It's awesome. We're getting heaps of really great feedback from the community about people going there and enjoying it. One of the ways we know people are using it is people are coming in with some minor ideas for improvement, which is really great because that means that people are going there and they are, taking their kids there. One of the ones is that we've we are getting some feedback is around cycle access, particularly for people coming from, the south of Tennyson, Strickland, south of Summerfield Street areas where they're, a lot of them are coming up Colombo Street. So we've had, I guess, the big one is that there's, you've got a couple of those big arterials to cross between, obviously, Brougham and then Colombo Street itself isn't that friendly. And there's also some cycle storage issues at the Colombo itself. So we would really love council to think about what are some of the really quick wins that we could get there. Some of them might just be about some wayfinding, some maps, giving people options for safer routes and things like that. So, and maybe some very minor and improvements to intersections and things like that. But I would just really like to throw that out to council to have a think about, and I'm sure we'll get more feedback from residents over the next couple of months.
Cool. Thanks, Kev. We've also already, back to advocacy, we have submitted on the draft dog control bylaw and policy. And we talked about a lot of things in our submission, but one thing that we really wanted to raise and highlight again around this policy is the estuary. It's something that I think that people in Christchurch can easily get used to, having that estuary there and not really realise its significance. But I think it's always important to remember that estuary is an internationally significant ecological site. It's really, really rare to have such a rich variety of rare and endangered species, mostly birds, that to occupy that space so close to a city. And the dog control bylaw is one of our only tools that we have to control one of the major threats to those animals, which is dogs. And our board is really, really strongly advocating for basically removal of dogs from that space, at minimum to have them leashed, but preferably removed entirely from the estuary area. Obviously, dog owners need somewhere to go to walk their dogs as well, and we'd like to be able to offer another space, a new dog park potentially somewhere around the hills or near where the estuary is. But yeah, when it comes to this dog control bylaw and policy, I just wanted to kind of re-emphasise that in this forum as well. We've had some good feedback on the local alcohol policy development. Our board staff and the engagement staff with the LAP consultation ran a workshop in our board area, which is really successful. Got lots of rich feedback from the community. Did you want to add anything to that here?
Just obviously we strongly support the reduction of trading hours for off licences, particularly looking at areas of high deprivation as a really significant place where harm occurs. We really want to make sure that this policy is focused on the evidence about what's going to deliver the best community outcomes. We think it's important to consider how there's going to be impacts on alcohol consumption in private venues, and we also wanted to raise the benefits of consumption at unlicensed premises, which makes it sound like we all think we should all go out for a drink at the pub, which I'm sure we,
partially is true.
Partially is true, but also, to be honest, the benefit of having that social space where people are also having monitoring and there's professional provision of alcohol in a safe environment, like some of the brilliant pubs and venues in the Spring Cashmere Heathcote area that you should all give a visit.
Yep. And I've run out of time, but I'll post some photos of some cool community events we've got coming up. One's the dog pool party at Waltham Pool on Saturday, 5th of April.
Okay. And Sarah had a hand up early on, so far away.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just looking at the few photos back with the Colombo and the library there. So there's a couple of there's a few car parks outside. They've got a large car parking area at the back. When it comes to the cycle parking, I'm just wondering if we can connect with their transport staff and see if there's one of those temporary stands available. The ones with the green bottom and the yellow uprights and look a bit like Lego.
Yeah.
That could be transported in relatively quickly in conjunction talking to the management at the mall there. And
yeah,
that'd be brilliant.
That's a really good idea.
Much better than the wheel benders that are kind of tucked around the back there currently. Yeah. Thanks.
Absolutely.
That's right, because they were made to be moved around. So, Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
See you. Right, Fenelton, Waimari, Harewood, please. Jason and Marianne. Yep.
Good morning, everybody. So, in preparation for the opening of the Council's Strengthening Communities funding round, our local staff held a funding hui last week to provide information to groups on how to apply, funding criteria and general tips for submitting an application form. The Department of Internal Affairs and Sport Canterbury also attended and presented the groups with information on their funding schemes. The feedback received has been overwhelmingly positive, with some groups who have been applying for years saying that they learned something new. It was also a great opportunity to introduce the groups to the Council's new funding platform, Smarty Grants. The group seemed very happy with the new system and felt it was going to make things a lot easier for them in future. A second hui is being held in the evening on 8th of April. Our board also had a good information session with staff about the new funding platform and some changes for the coming funding round. I understand that staff will be making their way around all the boards over the next few weeks if they haven't already. The Inglefield Nature Play Space Project is being led by a community advisory group with support from our local community development advisor, Natalie Daly, and funding from the Community Board's Better Off funding. Following on from discussions amongst the community advisory group, made up of key local organisations and resident associations, the consultation with the local after-school youth group and Belfast School, guidelines for developing a draft plan have been created. Initial feedback has highlighted the following for inclusion in the space: open areas for families and young children, wild bush areas, open space for older children, community planted areas, signage and connections to educate people on the benefits of nature play. Later this month, a draft plan will go to council staff for feedback, and a community advisory group will look to get a consultation concept plan out to the community for their feedback and suggestions. Fresh in the Park 2025 was held on Sunday, the 16th of February at Sheldon Park in Belfast. This was a free, whānau and youth-friendly community event organised by the Youth and Cultural Development Fresh Events crew in partnership with the Belfast Community Network. The event aimed to bring the community together through a day of free fun activities, including free kai and drinks, a pool party, 3-on-3 basketball, henna art, haircuts, DJ and music, face painting, bouncy castles, soft archery, and hair fades and braids. A survey was completed by 70 community members who were mainly represented by parents, caregivers, and other family members of children and young people who attended the event, highlighting their experiences, feedback, and suggestions for future improvements. Key findings of the survey showed that 80% of the attendees rated the event as excellent and 20% as good. Participants emphasised how the event provided an opportunity for families and whānau to connect, helped neighbours meet each other, and created a welcoming environment for social interaction. Attendees highlighted that the event's free offerings included all the activities and free kai and drink, made it especially accessible for families, some of whom may be facing financial challenges. Our board is pleased that the contribution from our discretionary response fund helped make this event so successful, and a big thanks to all those involved in putting on the event. I'd like to finish today by highlighting the great work of one of our local groups. Friends of Corfe Reserve are a volunteer group made up of local community members who live close to the Corfe Reserve in Ireland. Corfe Reserve is a special spot to the group, not only because it's their local reserve, but also because the Otakaro Avon River runs through the reserve. Monarch butterflies overwinter in the trees, and there's a small island covered in trees called Walnut Island. The reserve has many established plants and large specimen trees that give it a very wild but tranquil feel. The Council's Community Partnership Ranger has been supporting the group since October 22, and over the last few years the group has managed to remove a lot of pest weeds from the reserve and mulch and plant those areas, which has significantly improved the look and feel of it. We would like to thank the group for all that they do. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Have any questions? No, that's brilliant. I must say, I a long time ago, 40 years ago, I built Corfe Street, and I believe back then the land belonged to Christ College and they subdivided it up. So that's way back then. That's when that happened. So if it fails, don't blame me. Thank you. Good to see you. Okay, Papua New Guinea Central, please. Emma and Simon.
Kia ora koutou, apologies from Simon for today. Thanks for the opportunity to present. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on what's been happening in our board area over the last month. At the public forum of our March meeting, we heard from some local community groups doing some amazing work. Together Diverse, Step Ahead Trust and We Are Richmond. We had an update from the transport team working on the Northcote Road pedestrian and cycle facilities investigations. This was a project that we put $100,000 of our Better Off funding towards, and it was good to hear that staff have identified 2 key areas where safety is most compromised. They're now working on a preferred option of shared paths to alleviate the issues at these 2 identified areas. Summer With Your Neighbours events have continued throughout March, with photos there from Harry's Way in Redwood and the Shirley Community Trust Neighbourhood Barbecue. You've heard us talk, next one. You've heard us talk many times in the past about the amazing work happening at the Richmond Community Garden and Revolution Eco Hub. And it's been exciting to see the early success of their latest venture, a Saturday farmers market. It's the perfect spot for it, with a wide range of vendors attending over the first few weeks, and the Revolution Cafe doing a roaring trade. It is initially just running until the end of daylight savings, but hopefully the early success will see it return later in the year. We've previously had House of Hoops competitions take place in other parts of our board area, but in February the first Papanui event was held and it was a great success. Paddington Reserve saw YCD and Te Ora run a fiercely contested competition with rangatahi having a great time shooting hoops and socialising. February also saw some new accessible housing open in Wesley Village in Papanui. The number of over 65s on the social housing register has more than doubled over the past 5 years and is growing at a rate faster than any other age group. So it's great to see these new homes, which are a mixture of social housing and affordable rentals, to see them completed. They all have a focus on accessibility and also feature solar panels to help keep energy costs down. Park staff and volunteers have again been busy at some of our local parks over the past wee while. With a working bee in Essex Reserve and involvement in the development of Petrie Park in Richmond. The murals are up in Petrie Park and a community barbecue helped gather feedback on the proposed planting plan for the park. And finally, over in Linwood, the Te Whare Roimata Cultural Fun Day was held at Doris Lusk Reserve with over 300 people attending. There was a village market as well as a number of different food stalls offering kai from around the world. Thanks to all the volunteers who supported this event, which helps celebrate the multicultural identity of the inner city east. That's all from us.
That's great. Yanni, please.
Thank you, and thank you for the work that you're doing in the community. I was just wondering if there was any update or progress on the proposed Ferry Road crossing in Phillipstown. It was something that my board obviously was working on, and then the new boards came into effect. But I'm just wondering, is there any update you can give us on what's happening?
It is progressing.
It's progressing. A memo's coming through shortly. There'll be a memo with an update coming through, and it will go through.
Do you know when? Because I mean,
yeah,
I've had questions in on this one for a while as well.
I will follow up with when that is, and I will come back to you.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep posted.
Cool.
All right, good. And is that new City to Sea pathway making things a lot more busy for the revolution?
Yes,
They notice a difference.
The cafe, they've brought in new staff, they've extended their opening hours, and it's just blown them away how busy it is since that path opened.
Okay, no, that's excellent. Thank you. Pauline?
You know, if they had the market day at Vogel Street, is that going to be run again?
The farmers market?
Yes.
Do
you know?
All I know at the moment is that it was only until daylight savings finishes, but I would hope that they'll restart it again.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. Okay, last but certainly not least is Horsewall Hornby Rigdon with Marie and Helen. See Helen? She's gone. Nope. Helen was up there.
Good morning. Apologies from Helen. I've got Bailey with me. All right. So thank you for the magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present the monthly report of the Waipuna Holswell Hornby Rickerton Community Board. Now, up on the screen, we have a photo of a mural that was completed by students of South Hornby School, which represents the different ethnicities in their school. If you look closely at the photo, you will see that there's a simple phrase there on the mural written in different languages, saying, "This is our place," or "This is our community." It's written in Hindi, Chinese, Tereo, Arabic, Samoan, Tongan, English, and of course Filipino. The Parks Unit installed this vibrant mural at Oakhampton Reserve. This piece of artwork acknowledges Oakhampton Reserve as South Hornby School's local green space, reinforcing the bond between students and their environment. Better Off funding was granted to the Holswell Lions Club for its gazebo replacement project. With this funding, they were able to purchase 2 new gazebos, including sidewalls and sandbags. This will allow the club to run its community events, rain or shine, which they have been doing for over 15 years to support different causes. There were 2 community workshops held recently to inform the redesign of the Waikola Skate Park in Hornby, and it was well attended. The board also hosted a community workshop seeking feedback on the proposed local alcohol policy and this year's annual plan. The community feedback was then used to inform the board's submission. The annual Hello Hornby event was held last month at Waikola Park, and it was very well attended. This event was organized by dedicated community volunteers with the support of the Hornby Community Care Trust. Now, this next piece of news is quite exciting for the whole of Christchurch. Now, if you managed to read yesterday's memo from the Parks Unit, you will know by now that the Waipuna Board approved the proposal to locate 2 full-size floodlit artificial sports fields with associated car parking and changing facilities at Wigram Road. You may recall that under Goal 2 of the Sports Field Network Plan, staff identified 6 catchment areas where artificial turf hub placements should occur to provide a well-distributed network around Christchurch. It is aimed to have 1 hub located in each catchment area, and this is the first of 6. I won't go into the details of the plans, as you would have already seen the location plan and concept plans included in yesterday's staff memo. Now, before I finish off, I would like to inform the council that Gamal Fauda, our community board for Riccarton, has resigned from the board. And so I would just like to acknowledge Gamal's contribution to the community, the city, and the country. He has done a lot for the whole of Christchurch and the country, promoting love and peace around the country. Thank you. Right.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Right, that's brilliant. No. Oh, sorry, Jake. I didn't see your hand there, bud.
It's understandable. Hey, just in light of that resignation, Marie, do you, with a year to the election, I understand boards can appoint, but the practice would normally be that you just wouldn't appoint someone to save some ratepayer funds. Do you know what the board is planning on doing there?
No. So we just received the official resignation of Gamal this week. So board will be presenting, the staff will be presenting advice to the board at the next meeting. So we will see. I understand because it's within 12 months to election, there is no by-election. The board has 2 options. One is to leave the seat vacant, and the other is to appoint somebody to the board. So we will have to wait for staff advice on process for this one.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jake, and thank you very much for coming. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you to all our community boards. I'm more than happy to move that, and Pauline's more than happy to second it. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye, against, thanks. That's carried.